The gate agent is smiling. Not at you. Through you. You're in boarding zone 5, the last group. The group that boards when the overhead bins are full, when the flight attendants have already answered the same question 14 times, when the people in rows 1 through 12 are already seated and watching you file past them toward the back. You are holding a boarding pass that says your seat number and nothing else useful. No upgrade, no priority, no early boarding, just a row number and a letter, and the knowledge that the letter is B, which is the middle, which means you are going to spend the next 4 hours with your shoulders touching 2 strangers in a seat that is 17.2 inches wide and does not recline. You knew this when you bought the ticket. You bought it anyway. It was $189, and you were going home for Thanksgiving, and $189 is what it cost. The plane is going to land at the same airport for everyone on board. The airline just decided that the 214 people behind the curtain are not worth the same experience as the 22 people in front of it. Most of the 214 don't know the curtain is there. They've never been in front of it. They've never been shown where it is. 8 levels. Zone 5 to a Gulf Stream. Most people have only ever seen one. This is what the airline industry looks like from every seat on the plane. Level 1. Basic Economy. Zone 5. You booked the ticket at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday because the price was about to expire, and $189 made the decision for you before your brain finished making it. You clicked Confirm. You did not buy the seat selection. You did not buy the carry-on. You did not buy the option to change the flight because the option to change the flight was $49, and you told yourself you'd be fine. The airline told you nothing about what you didn't buy, not in a list, not in bold. They told you in a fine print table buried in the fare rules that no one reads because the page is designed so that no one reads it. You arrive at the gate. The gate agent calls Zone 5. You stand. The overhead bin above row 34 has one item in it that belongs to someone in row 14. The bin is full. A flight attendant asks for your bag. Gate check, she says. It's free at the gate. You nod. What you don't say, it was $35 at booking. You didn't pay $35. So now the bag goes in the hold, and you lose 20 minutes at baggage claim, and that's the fee you're paying for the fee you didn't pay. Row 34, seat B. The seat in front of you is reclined. Your seat will not recline, not because of airline policy, because of a mechanism. The mechanism was deliberately disabled when they created this fare class. There was nothing wrong with the seat. They removed a feature from a working seat and sold you the seat without the feature and called it a product. You are on the plane. You are going where you're going. The airline has already decided that is the only fact about your trip worth communicating. That's the normal flight. Here's what happens when the flight gets canceled. You find out from a push notification, 3 lines of text, your flight number, the word canceled, and a link to a page that does not load on airport Wi-Fi. There is no apology, no rerouting, no human being within sight who has any obligation to help you. The app has 2 buttons, rebook or accept a travel credit. You tap rebook. The app loads for a long time. An error has occurred. You tap again. Same result. You find the customer service number. The automated voice says, "Current wait times are over 160 minutes." You find the service desk. There are 38 people in line ahead of you. Every single one of them received the same 3-line notification. You wait 51 minutes. You get rebooked on a flight 9 hours from now. There is a Hudson News and a Panda Express, and a charging station with 3 of 5 ports broken. You will spend $49 in this terminal before the day is over. The ticket was $189. That was a real number. It was also a door. The door opened into a system where the price at checkout and the cost of using what you paid for are 2 different numbers, and no one at booking offered to explain the difference. Level 2. Economy with extra legroom. You are 26. You are flying home for Christmas, and this time you paid $54 extra, not for a different seat. For the same seat, moved forward 3 inches. 3 inches, $54. You thought about it for a moment. Then you remembered what your knees felt like after the last flight. You paid the $54. Row 15, window seat. The bins are not full. Your bag fits without being turned sideways. You notice that you're registering bag fits as a positive development. A grown adult on a paid flight, relieved that his bag has room. But here you are. The seat is the same material, the same tray table, the same 3-inch pitch of recline. The person in front of you reclines immediately, and now you understand that the 3 inches you paid for is the exact distance their recline would have consumed. You have bought yourself back to even. You get the same Coke as everyone else, the same 1.5-ounce bag of pretzels. Clouds over Ohio. Here is what you bought for $54. The absence of a specific kind of dread. Not comfort, not service, not recognition. Just the removal of the particular anxiety of knowing your flight is going to hurt before it starts. The airline has monetized the removal of their own inconvenience. You paid them to not make this worse, and you're relieved that you did. Level 3. Premium Economy. You are 32. You spent $340 more than the base fare. You are in row 8. There is a curtain behind you. That curtain is the most important object in this story. In front of the curtain, 18 seats. Wider, 38-inch pitch, a footrest that folds out from below the seat in front, a real pillow in a sealed bag, a menu. Behind the curtain, 198 seats. Narrower, 31-inch pitch, no footrest, a $12 snack box available through an app you're required to download to access. The curtain doesn't separate comfort from discomfort. It separates visibility from invisibility. In front of it, you're a customer with a spend profile worth retaining. Behind it, you're a seat filled. Your seat is 20.5 inches wide. A blanket. Headphones that aren't the $4 earbuds from economy. A meal included, heated in an oven that produces something closer to food than what they serve in the back. The flight attendant in this section covers 18 seats. The flight attendant in the back covers 55. That ratio is not a coincidence. It is a resource allocation decision, exactly how much attention each revenue tier can justify. You've been in economy enough times to know the curtain exists. You saved up the $340 to be in front of it. The people behind the curtain either can't afford to be in front of it or don't know the curtain is there. Both groups are flying coach. Only one of them knows it. Level 4. Domestic Business Class. You are 38. Your company pays. You board first. Not after families. Not after active military. Not after the agent finishes calling a list of other people who matter more today. You. First. The jetway is empty when you walk down it. Your seat reclines to 40 degrees. That is not a lie-flat bed. On a 6-hour flight from New York to Los Angeles, it is close enough to matter. You will arrive without that specific tightness in your lower back that used to mean you needed a day to recover from a work trip. You won't need the day. That's the product. Before departure, a flight attendant leans in. Sparkling or still, she says. She means water. On a domestic Delta flight. You say sparkling because the first time someone asked you this on an airplane, you answered just to confirm it was real, and now you answer from habit. The habit has never stopped feeling like something. The meal arrives in 2 courses. Eggs in the morning, protein over vegetables in the afternoon. A cheese plate on the coast to coast that everyone orders, because the cheese plate at 37,000 feet is the kind of thing you want to physically confirm. 1 flight attendant, 6 rows. That's the ratio. You don't do the math out loud. You just notice that no one has interrupted you once since you sat down. Your company did not book this ticket as a benefit. The calculation is colder than that. You are a revenue-facing employee. When you land rested and clear instead of compressed and 2 hours behind, the first client meeting goes differently. The airline understands this as well as your CFO does. The front cabin is not built for comfort. It is built for the retention of passengers whose employers will keep paying to keep them functional. You land in Los Angeles in the morning. You are not sore, you are not behind. You deplane first. You stand in the terminal and you watch the Zone 5 passengers arrive 11 minutes after you. You think about the morning a few months ago when the storm grounded the 6 a.m. bank. Down the concourse, 38 people were standing in a line. One of them had been there for 51 minutes. You walked past that line on your way back from the lounge. You had already been rebooked by then, not by an app. By a person, a dedicated agent, staffed for your status tier, with direct system access instead of scripted options. She called when the cancellation hit. She gave you 2 specific flights and waited for your answer. You chose the 9:10 nonstop. The call took 4 minutes. By the time those 38 people had been standing in line for 3 minutes, you had been confirmed for 2. The curtain is not only about the seat, it is about what the system decides to do for you when the seat no longer exists. 4 levels in. 4 to go. You've crossed to the other side of the curtain. You've felt what the system does for you when everything breaks. You've sat in the seat where someone calls before the line even forms. But you're still inside the system. There's still a terminal, a gate agent, a boarding pass with your name on it, and a schedule that exists independently of you. Part 2 is about what happens when you leave the system entirely, when the curtain stops being fabric and becomes a door, and then disappears. It starts at domestic first class. It ends with an aircraft that leaves when you're ready, from a building that has no boarding zones because there is no one else on the plane. The next level costs $600 more than where you are now. The final level costs $48 million. The distance between those numbers is not money. It's a different relationship with time.